So, what you are seeing right now is a completely unedited image that happened to be what I saw when searching for a song from Friday Night Funkin. A video about Undertale by Wizard and pro wrestler maniac Super Eyepatch Wolf appeared, and this puzzled me for a bit. Did the YouTube algorithm break and this randomly appeared because I've watched this video 30 times already while yearning for a breakthrough in my own video making process? Almost certainly, but it did feel a bit strange because suddenly something clicked and I realized something very strange and very fascinating. Now allow me to paraphrase what Eyepatch Wolf said about Undertale, but let's make it about a different game. Friday Night Funkin is a tiny little game released on November 1st, 2020 for legendary internet cesspool Newgrounds. And here we can see a Kickstarter for a full version of the game hitting just over 35 times its original budget of 60,000 US dollars only 6 months later. This is a tiny little Flash game. Okay, well, Flash is dead, so it was actually made in Hakes, but it has a Flash aesthetic. And somehow this game managed to, in half a year, get a budget of over 2 million US dollars to make a full version that is well over 5 times its original length after stretch goals. That's the kind of thing that indie developers wish of getting on a daily basis, and almost none of them can ever accomplish. The gameplay isn't even that revolutionary since it's basically just Flash Revolution, and it's not like there are complicated characters in the game that you can latch onto. Only 4 characters in Friday Night Funkin' of the dozen or so have spoken, and most of them only say a few lines. Even the main character can only communicate with beeps and boops. And yet, somehow this has become the single biggest thing that has come out of Newgrounds in well over a decade. And for some reason, I can't help but compare it to Undertale. If only because it started as something so small, and through an overwhelming fan response, it is growing bigger by the day. It even managed to make Newgrounds relevant again. So let's take a minute and figure out how this started and try to determine where it's going. Newgrounds is a website originally launched in 1995 by Tom Fulp, a 17-year-old who wanted to create a space for himself and others to post these tiny little games and animations primarily being built out of Macromedia Flash. One of its most iconic and popular creations was a small indie game called Pico's School, which what the fuck, Tom Fulp? You made this right after Columbine? This is so beyond fucked up! Pico's School is an immature take on Columbine in which a child must stop goth kids from murdering everyone in school. I really wonder how this would do in today's world. Pico would then go on to be the only mascot of Newgrounds before being replaced by Tankman as the face of the website. Over time, more and more people would start posting their own creations, some of them using it as a testing ground before they went off and had successful careers in various art and/or game development. Voice actress Kira Buckland, animator and eventual YouTuber Ego Raptor, artist and YouTuber Jazza, game developers Dan Paladin and Edmund McMillan, and much more recent people like animators Joel G and Pello all started or at least contributed to Newgrounds at some point. Does anybody else remember that the Numa guy was originally on Newgrounds? Man, that's weird. One of the dumbest memes of all time was launched by a guy who thought it was okay to make fun of Columbine months after it happened. Sorry. That's not to say that everything on Newgrounds was good or even particularly notable. For every shining gem that was interesting and career-defining, there were hundreds of low-rent animations or games normally made by edgy teenagers in their spare time. Then for each of those, you had a different meet and fuck game, or an uncensored dating sim that there is no restriction on and your parents have no idea that you're playing them when you're about 10. Oh god, I had my sexual awakening on Newgrounds. Oh god, I had my sexual awakening on Newgrounds! Anyways, the point is, there's a lot of history on there, and it's been quite influential to internet history. For as big as Newgrounds was, it eventually had to face a massive issue. While there was still plenty of support for the site and it was sustainable, it did lose a lot of interest over time, especially after 2005, which was not helped by the eventual announcement that Adobe would be discontinuing support of Flash, the platform by which an overwhelming amount of the content on Newgrounds was created. The Flash scene kind of then implodes, with a lot of people moving on or just straight up abandoning the platform, and Newgrounds, while never dying, does fade quite a bit. HTML5 and Higgsflixel were both used to supplement and get around the death of Flash, but the damage had been done. Newgrounds was no longer the site for any and all user-created content. That is, until this past year. With the eventual death of Tumblr, a lot of people needed to find a new place to post whatever they wanted, and a lot of them went to Newgrounds. In October of 2020, users NinjaMuffin99, Phantom Arcade 3K, Kawaii Sprite, and Evil Skater came together for the Ludum Dare Game Jam where they submitted this. Fuck yeah! Okay, so this isn't that special, but it's a good attempt for something that was thrown together in a matter of a few weeks. This was the original prototype for Friday Night Funkin', a game where you play as the eponymous boyfriend who just wants to make out with his girlfriend, but her dad hates you, so he challenges you to a rap battle to get rid of you once and for all. It wasn't much, only having 2 songs at the time, but it was met with enough positive reception that the team decided to make a substantial update to the game, including cameos from the Spooky Month animations by Pello. Each update includes a new week of songs to choose from where the people you fight against are mostly assassins sent by girlfriend's dad in revenge for being humiliated. From here on, Friday Night Funkin' will rapidly increase in popularity, quickly becoming the highest rated game on Newgrounds in its 25-year-long history. The next big update would feature, oh god damn it, it's Pico. Whatever, he's only there for 1 week, I hope. The next few updates feature some new villains, some returning ones, but it became abundantly clear at this point that the music in this game fucking slaps! I make no exaggerations when I say that this tiny little Newgrounds game that you can beat in under an hour has better music than the vast majority of games I have ever played. Some of that comes from the benefit that it really only needs battle music, but almost every track in the game is absolutely stunning. I have spent hours playing these games, and I have spent dozens more hours listening to the soundtrack from the game. Remixes and covers are extremely popular, and Kawaii Sprite deserves nothing but praise for what he created. It's fairly reasonable to say that the game's popularity is caused largely by the game's fantastic music, and I'm apparently not the only one that thinks so, because the song MILF from week 4 actually got onto the fucking electronic charts on Billboard, ranking 44. By the time week 7, the most recent week at the time of recording, came out, the game was so popular that when it was a Newgrounds exclusive, the amount of traffic crashed the website, and they had to delay its release while they allocated more servers just for one game. It was down for almost an entire week. In an almost miraculous way, this game made Newgrounds hyper-relevant once again. It even made Tom Fulp turn around and decide to replace Pico's school with a version where Pico stops the school shooting from ever happening through the power of love, canonically showing that boyfriend used to date Pico. Oh my god, Friday Night Funkin' made Tom Fulp into a good person. It goes so much further though. Dozens of fan animations have been made on Newgrounds and YouTube, several of them getting views in the tens of millions, like this one of the stress map that came out about 3 weeks ago. It has 37 million views at the time of recording. There's also plenty of other animations that get anywhere from 5 to 25 million views. But where this gets really crazy, and the biggest reason I cannot help but compare this to Undertale, comes in the form of mods. Friday Night Funkin has an incredibly active modding community because the developers of the game decided to release it as open source. Pandora's box was opened. You can make any change to the game that you want. You don't like the original cast? Well, here's Friday Night Funkin' Minus, where all the characters are redesigned based on the little icon that appears on the health bar. Which, let's just be clear, most of these designs are much, much better. Or maybe you want everybody to be made out of clay. Or maybe you want the demon to be replaced with the bear from Roblox. Fuck it. Just have all of them be Sonic characters. Actually, double fuck it. Have them be the exact same except drawn poorly. Why is Monica here? Those are just the reskins. If you want to go into the true insanity, talk about the mod characters. One of the most popular mods out there right now is the Witty one, which adds an entire week that is much more difficult than anything found in the normal game. It stars this strange man with a bomb for a head, and he's just kinda here to fuck you up because he's a washed up rock star with nothing better to do, but the music fucking slams! You can also fight Garcello, a chronic smoker who tries to sell cigarettes to boyfriend, but they have a rap battle to decide what happens, and then he fucking dies partway through the week after realizing he shouldn't sell smokes to fucking kids? But the music is so good! I wish PSAs from my childhood were this cool! Then there's my personal favorite mod character, Sarvente, who is a demon nun who wants to guide people to heaven, but boyfriend crashes the church, so she calls her childhood friend Ruv to help before she also turns into a demon to stop us. The music is absolutely great, and I'm apparently not the only one who thinks that either, because Rub's theme also got on the electronic Billboard charts and was higher than the song from the original fucking game. Then, if you want to go even further with Sarvente, and I know a lot of you perverts do, there are mods of the mods. You can make Sarvente thick, or make her into girlfriend. People just do whatever they want. Then you have Carol, who is this little girl created by BB Panzu, who replaces Week 3 with a couple unique songs. They're alright. The only special thing about her is that she is romantically interested in Witty. Oh yeah, there's cross-mod canon, as supported by not just the fans, but it's also frequently supported by the creators themselves. Carol and Witty want to date each other, but also Carol is girlfriend's best friend. Witty is also extremely close to Hex, another mod character who is this weird basketball robot with a screen for a face and really, really good music. You should also not confuse Witty with Fun-Sized Witty, who is a different character that can replace Boyfriend, and they might be Witty's son, but it's not been confirmed, but it's not been denied yet, but the fandom tends to get their way. Hex is also a massive fan of Hatsune Miku. Yeah, that one. Hex is a massive fan of Miku, and it is a common fan theory that Miku is the sister of Boyfriend, which might actually happen one day, because Ninja Muffin has said that he really wants to get the license and put Miku in the game for real. Also, in private DMs, he has said that, in fact, they are related, which is kinda rad, not gonna lie, but if you approach the modding community, that also means that these are Miku's parents. Then there's Gender Swap Boyfriend, who isn't a girl version of Boyfriend, it's actually his sister, and she's dating Gender Swap Girlfriend, who is different from Boy Girlfriend, and they are all related to Ritz, who is a rat that is the adoptive brother of Boyfriend, and that one's not even a mod, that's actually canon. Ninja Muffin is gonna have him appear as the canonical adoptive rat brother of Boyfriend? What the fuck? It was at this point that I kind of realized I was slightly losing my mind as I tried to connect all the spiderwebs that make up the fanon and the actual canon and what mods are and are not canon. Obviously everything in the base game is real, but Boyfriend dating Pico originated as a fan theory and then they made it canon, and then they had to go and confirm that Miku is Boyfriend's brother, so I don't know what else may or may not end up being canon. It's all this massively confusing mess that is almost indescribable. To a certain extent, It's hard to tell where the regular game ends and the fan creations begin. I wouldn't be surprised if the dev team decides to contact a lot of these modders and ask them if they want to be in the full game one day. There are so many fan characters that have their own little... wait, hold on. The fuck is that? What do you mean he's an anthropomorphic being? Each character has their own little pocket world that they live in and has their own fans that make their own creations based on wholly original fan works already. And it's not like these are just isolated to the fans. Take a look at the view count on videos of the mods. Quick disclaimer, I recorded a bunch of this audio way before I got the footage, and I'm too lazy to re-record, so, yeah, these numbers are gonna be wrong. This video of Garcella has over 12 million views in 3 weeks. This animation of the fight has 6 million in 10 days. This Witty video has 19 million views, with a lyric cover having 8 million. The Sarvente mod has multiple videos that are just under 10 million. There are just videos of the original songs, but the skins keep changing, and those are consistently getting like 20 million views without fail. If you look at regular videos of the base game, they are not getting anywhere close at. Some of them get into the 8, 9 million, but almost none of them are going over 10 million. And when I see all of this, I can't help but think about Undertale. That was a game that was really neat for what it was, but it was far more defined by its fan community than it ever was by what the creator had made. There are hundreds of alternate universes, fan games, music remixes, all about Undertale, and those continue to be massively popular. I think that in many ways is what Friday Night Funkin' has already become. Those view counts for mods are so much more popular than the videos of the normal game. If I try to sort YouTube by view count when I just type the name of the game, it takes a distressingly long time before I ever find a video that is just of the base game. And that is exactly the same as Undertale. It's genuinely amazing watching a game become so much more than what the developers could have ever made out of it. Friday Night Funkin' was a small game jam project made in a couple of weeks that just happened to have the right combination of events to become one of the biggest things on social media, to become a platform for artists to make a name for themselves, and to become a $2.2 million Kickstarter. Honestly though, that last one doesn't really matter. While it's great that the Kickstarter was so successful, the full game will almost certainly be overshadowed by what the fans will go on to make, and it looks like the dev team knows that. The final game is meant to have polymod support, meaning that modding will become incredibly easy, which is a good thing, given that as it stands now, dozens of mods are coming out every single day. To me, this means that the mod community will just expand, become easier to get into, and become even more powerful. And that's a good thing. It's not super often that you get to see a game that's created by a community rather than by a team of developers. Friday Night Funkin' is just as much the community's game as it is Ninja Muffins, Phantom Arcade's, Evil Skaters, and Kawaii Sprite's game. At this point, the only thing that Undertale's community has over Friday Night Funkin's is time. One came out in 2015, and the other came out 6 months ago. Who knows what this might look like in 5 years after more people get their hands on the game and more artists want to create things in the Friday Night Funkin' world. Whether or not Friday Night Funkin' will ever actually eclipse Undertale, I really don't know. But what I can be sure of is that both games have created communities that make them larger than the developers ever could. Thank you.